All right, Grizzly Rizzly here. 8586. More factoring today, but now trinomials. Okay, this is a really, really, really big lesson. Very important. All right, as a warm up, can you guys go ahead and distribute this? So remember we called it FOIL. First, remember you got to double distribute, and then you got to take the 6 and also double distribute. All right, so go ahead and do that. So x times 3x is 3x squared. X times negative 4 is negative 4x. And 6 times 3x is 18x. And 6 times negative 4 is negative 24. So you guys should be pros at this. Any like terms we're going to add together. So the final answer is 3x squared. Negative 4 plus 18 is positive 14x, and then minus 24. Okay, so I hope everybody's good there. Here's what we're doing today. We give you a trinomial, 3 terms. We want you to factor it into the product of 2 binomials. So today you're going from this to this. We're going backwards. You know how to go here to here, but now we go here to here. And there's some tricks. It's going to be a little hard at first, but you guys will get it. So factoring means undoing distributing. We talked about that before. Today we're going to undo distributing. And I am actually not teaching it this way this year, so we're going to flip right onto the back side. I'm going to try a new method this year. Okay, we're going to start with number 2. Okay, so number 2, if it's a trinomial, we're going to draw our double parenthesis, right? Because that's what it looked like. Okay, so we know, I need you guys to be really good at that double distributing and tell me what's got to go here and here so that when you would be double distributing, what would get you x squared? Like what has to go here and here? And I hope you guys are saying it's got to be x and x, because that's how you start off to get the x squared, right? Okay, and then similarly, let's do the last number. This one times this one would end up being the last terms in each one. They would have to multiply to 2. Okay, so what are some ways to multiply to 2? Doesn't it have to be 2 and 1, right? Or 1 and 2? So one of these numbers has to be a 2, and one of these numbers has to be a 1. And luckily, on this type of problem, it doesn't matter. So your choice. You could put the 2 here, and you could put the 1 here. The order doesn't matter. And then another thing you have to do is say if they're positive or negative. Well, this one's easy because if everything's positive, then they both have to be positive. Okay, let's just make sure. That's the answer. You guys are done. This is it. That's called factoring trinomials. But let's just get in the habit of checking it. So x times x would be x squared. X times 1 would be 1x, and then 2 times x would be 2x, and then 2 times 1 would be 2. And then if you add like terms in the middle, 1x plus 2x, you get x squared plus 3x plus 2. Did we get back to where we started? Yes. Okay, so we did it right. Okay, let's try number 4. You know what? I'm going to make this one harder. We're going to make this one, actually, yeah, let's change this one. Can you guys make it t squared? Let's do plus x, oh, sorry, hold on, sorry. T squared plus t minus 6. I'm going to make this one a little bit harder. Okay, so we ask you guys to factor a trinomial. You start by drawing your 2 parentheses. We know that if we multiply the first one in each set, we need to end up with t squared. So guess what has to go here and here? Well, t and t, right? That's how you get t squared. Okay, and then we also know that here times here has to get us -6. So what are some ways that you could get -6? It could be 3 and 2. It could be 1 and 6. We have some options here. So here's where you have to be a little careful. Okay, so I'm going to make a list. Some ways to get 6 are 2 and 3 or 1 and 6. And one of them has to be negative in order to get -6. Okay, so keep that in mind. Now here's what you have to check. You have to check the inners plus the outers, and they have to add to the middle term, 1. Okay, so keep that in mind. What do you guys think it's going to be? Is it going to be 2 and 3 or 1 and 6? If when you add the inners and the outers, it's got to add to 1. Okay, and I would think 1 and 6 isn't going to work. I'm going to try 2 and 3. Okay, now, one of them has to be negative. So which one of these has to be negative? So you multiply to -6, but also keep in mind, when you add the inners and the outers, they have to add to +1. So that means that the bigger number has to be positive and the smaller number has to be negative. So that's your answer, t minus 2 times t plus 3. Okay, I'm going to check it and make sure it works. So t times t is t squared. T times 3 is 3t. -2 times t is -2t. And -2 times 3 is -6. And if you add like terms in the middle, you do get t squared plus 1t minus 6, and that is what we wanted. Okay, you guys are done. I don't want to do the hard one right now. If anybody wants a preview, I will show you what's coming tomorrow. Okay, so number 3. So draw your 2 parentheses. This is just a preview. Okay, we know that the first 2 have to multiply to 3n squared. So that means that one of them has to be 3n and one of them has to be 1n. That's how we're going to get 3n squared when we distribute. Okay, and then we also need 2 numbers that multiply to -5. Okay, so it's got to be 5 and 1, right? That's the only option, but one of them has to be negative. So if we make our list here, there's only one option. It's got to be 1 and 5 or 5 and 1. Now, here's the problem. When the front number is not 1, the order does matter. It does matter where you put it. So here's the hard part. Remember, the inners plus the outers, they have to add to 14. So what do you guys think? Should the 1 go here, or should the 5 go here, or should the 5 go here and the 1 go here? Also keep in mind that one of them has to be negative, and that when you add the inners and the outers, you have to get 14. And here's where you guys you guess and check, you play around. I'm going to put the 5 here and the 1 here, because then look, we have a 1 and a 15. And if we want a positive 14, we should have the 15 be positive and the 1 be negative, so that when you add -1 plus 15, you get 14. This is the answer. Okay, I want you guys to check it since we're new at this. So 3n times 1n is 3n squared. 3n times 5 is 15n. -1 times n is -n. And -1 times 5 is -5. And if you add your like terms in the middle, we get 3n squared plus 14n minus 5. And that is what we wanted. So that means we factored it right. Oh, I'm sorry. You guys can't see. Okay, we have a lot of practice on this. It just takes practice. I promise you guys will get it. Okay? Thanks for watching.